and Denise Van de Mortel. Mingya Wang and Laura Day finish it out for Gonzaga, who's coached by Dave Gant. Started at the University of Great Falls. Third season as Gonzaga head coach, just a 21-59 record, but he's done a good job of building that program up. And now let's turn to your Cougars. BYU, a familiar starting lineup. Christy Carpenter at outside hitter. Jennifer Hampson, she'll be in there alongside Nicole Warner. Look for a lot of blocks from those two. Catherine LeChaminat, another middle blocker. The setter is going to be Heather Hanneman, and she'll cover a lot of that court. And then Tia Withers and Kendallin Hartsock, to round it out for BYU. They're coached by Sean Olmstead in his first year as BYU head coach, and he's led them to an impressive 20-8 record. Got them sitting on the bubble, so this is a big game as they try and get into postseason play. And we are just about ready to go here in the Smith Fieldhouse. So let's look at this series history. BYU's leading it 5-0. Last meeting, me and Kristen talked about it. BYU won it 3-1. Kind of surprising that Gonzaga forced 4 sets in that one. BYU hoping for the sweep tonight.
This is a really good Gonzaga team, and they don't show it on paper with their record, as we talked about. BYU struggled a little bit to play at their place, but Gonzaga, a lot of positives, even though it doesn't show in their record at 7-19. Just won 1 conference game, and that was against the University of Portland on October 13th. But this is a team that has nothing to lose here tonight, so BYU better be ready for it.
And for BYU, certainly don't need any motivation. This will be the second to last home game for those 3 seniors, and especially Kristen Carpenter. She's got to stand out for that.
And we talked about Carpenter in the open. After struggling, having to have that knee surgery and missing the first couple games of the season, Carpenter has really come on strong and takes serious that this is her last opportunity as a Cougar to be able to play. And so watch for Carpenter to get going early for BYU. Also, which we haven't touched on, is Jennifer Hampson, who's had a solid season, the sophomore right side hitter for BYU. Look for those 2 players to get some good sets here tonight. And
speaking of Jennifer Hampson, you know, she's not just got volleyball on the mind, she's also a 2-star athlete on the women's basketball team. So now that they're underway, she's got quite a hectic schedule, I'm sure.
It's a good look at Hampson right there, and it's a hard thing to juggle, having to do both sports. November is really the big overlap month. The basketball team started practicing early October, so she's practiced with them, but having to juggle the games and that mentally going from one sport to the other, as well as having to handle the academic side of it, I mean, it's just a hard thing, and I really give her a lot of credit for being able to do both sports.
Don't want to overlook that student part of student athlete. Jennifer Hampson does a great job with that. As Cosmo gets the fans here at the Smith Fieldhouse fired up, we are just about ready to get things started as the Cougars will try to move their record to 21-8 and 10-5 on the conference, while Gonzaga tries to get out of their losing ways and pick up their 2nd conference win. We're ready to go. The fans look fired up. I'm a little fired up myself. And it looks like it will be Gonzaga serving first. Looks like that'll be number 6, Taryn Poindexter. Poindexter out of Hesperia, California. Beautiful area. And we got the chance to talk with Coach Gant before the game, and he mentioned Poindexter specifically as a player who might kind of have a coming out party.
Yeah, she's just a junior, but so athletic, so quick on the outside. A lot of power. She'll hit a heavy ball on the outside, but they really need to count on her on the outside, especially when they're out of system. She's going to see a lot of sets and try and get those balls in play.
And so Poindexter to get things started here. As the Cougar fans get in her ear early, and I'm sure often. And we are underway here in the Smith Fieldhouse. BYU quickly sets it up for Carpenter. And that one goes long, so it'll be a point for Gonzaga.
Carpenter really trying to hit that cut shot, taking that hard angle, which is very hard to do, especially on that outside spot.
Another service coming from Poindexter. And they set that one up for Nicole Warner. Good dig there. And Cougars now with it. Christy Carpenter again. And that'll get the Cougars on the board. Good shot there.
And I like the selection from Hanneman. She used Warner, which made the middle blocker respect Warner in the middle, and it opened up Carpenter. Just held Ettinger just a little bit longer to allow Carpenter to go up and over the top of her.
Now BYU service by Heather Hanneman. And a good block in the middle for the Cougars there. And that one just takes a tough bounce, so that'll be another point for Gonzaga. And this quick start's especially important for Gonzaga for their confidence.
And right out of the gates, they're really trying to utilize those middles, make BYU respect their middles. They got great middles with Crenshaw and Ettinger. Love to run those quick sets.
Service from Gonzaga. Oh, and going for the kill was Hampson, but good blocking again from Gonzaga. And Carpenter will just hit it over. And now it's Gonzaga trying to set one up for one of their big hitters.
Such scrappy defense from BYU. Gonzaga for a moment thought the play was over, but the Cougars continued to play. And you'll see right here, watch, it bounces off Hampson. Great play by Hanneman to keep it going. Another great dig from Hartsock that we didn't get a view of there, but kept it alive, that defensive play, getting them the point.
And then Hartsock comes back with the awesome serve. Gonzaga just couldn't catch up to it. And so that'll be a point. And so now it's 3-2 in favor of the Cougars early on in the Smith Fieldhouse as Carpenter takes her service turn. And that one blocked out of bounds. That'll be a point for the Zags. That was Crenshaw getting up for that one.
Crenshaw doing a nice job of waiting and then leaping off that 1 foot, utilizing the block.
And there's the serve from Wang. And that'll be a point for BYU, thanks to Casey Thurston.
Thurston getting in early in the first set. On the outside, she does a nice job of hitting the ball high up and over the block. And not salvageable on the opposite side for Gonzaga.
As Nicole Warner serves. And a good block from Hampson along with LaChaminade for BYU.
There was beautiful penetration by Hampson and LaChaminade, two of the best blockers on the team. Watch them go up and over the net, driving that ball back down to the court. Look how high they're going up and over to be able to block that ball.
As Gonzaga trying to set one up, and they do. Right in the ship early. That makes it 5-4 Cougars early on in this one. Reminder fans, we go to 25, win by 2, and as always, best out of 5 sets. As now number 11, Deanna Nielsen, serves for Gonzaga. Thurston tries to play one over. Gonzaga was paying attention. And that one will be blocked out of bounds again, so Gonzaga evens it up at 5.
Gonzaga's doing a nice job of hitting the high ball up and over the block, using that. That's the 4th or 5th hit that we've seen tipped off of the BYU block. Beautiful setting job by Vanden Mortel, be able to get those balls high.
As Hanneman sets one up for Hampson there. And Hanneman setting one up for Thurston this time. But a good dig from Gonzaga. There's Laura Day on that one. And another good dig on a tough shot from Hampson. But Gonzaga just can't get to that one, so point to the Cougars.
It's the longest rally that we've seen yet, and both teams doing a nice job. Their back row players, some of those defensive specialists really digging up some big hits. And LaChaminade getting a piece of it, able to tip that one back down.
Hampson with the serve. And Crenshaw goes up for the kill. Cougars do a good job blocking, and then Hartsock just gets it over. Crenshaw trying again. And there's a good kill. Looks like that was Thurston again on the outside. Gives the Cougars the edge, 7-5.
Second kill for Thurston. Great form going up, reading the seam of where the block is and hitting it to the inside.
Hampson's service again. That time Wang set one up for Poindexter. A good dig there from Gonzaga. That was Laura Day again. And just out of bounds. Oh, sorry, that one was in. Point does go to Gonzaga, makes it 7-6. I think BYU might have thought that one was out too. Hanneman setting one up again, this time for LaChaminade, and that was sweet.
And it all started with the passing from Christy Carpenter. She made a beautiful receiving pass allowing Hanneman to do what she wanted with that ball. Watch right here, right on the top of the head of Hanneman so she could set that back slide.
As Tia Withers comes into the game for Casey Thurston, and Withers will get in the action right away, serving that one. And now Hanneman set one up for Carpenter. Well blocked by Gonzaga there.
Beautiful, beautiful dig by Hartsock.
And another good rally between these two teams here. BYU just gets that one over. Oh, and a good shot played over by number 16, Kylie Ettinger. BYU doing all they can not to let that one hit. But Ettinger comes right back, and that one's in. That'll be a point for the Bulldogs. And Gonzaga looking pretty strong early on.
Yeah, you gotta love the resiliency from Gonzaga. They continued to pound it, run those quick slide sets right in the middle, utilizing their talent in the middle with Ettinger. She ran it 3 times in that rally, but Hartsock on the opposite side digging up some beautiful balls.
As there's Carpenter, who's a little long with her hit. And that'll knot things up early at 8 apiece. These fans in the Smith Fieldhouse wanting more. Denise Vandemortel with the serve. Dug out from Carpenter. And now it'll be Wang, who looked like she was going to set one up, tried a little cute shot over. And great reactions from BYU to keep that one alive. That's got the fans excited, but Poindexter says, quiet down, fans. That's another good kill from Poindexter.
And there's some of that power and athleticism we talked about. Watch, a beautiful push all the way out, and Poindexter able to turn it. You see just the one isolated blocker, Hanneman, and so she's got that free range in the middle of the court.
As Carpenter goes up against the block and gets the points. It was Ettinger and Wang going up with the block. Carpenter just able to get that one in. And that ties us up at 9 here in set number 1. The serve from Hartsock. Another great dig from Hartsock. And then Hampson just can't get that one over.
I'd love to go to Hampson on that back row. And that time just too low when she came down and hit the ball as it was coming down.
And that gives Gonzaga their first lead in this one, 10-9. Serve from Poindexter. And Hanneman will set one up. And what was the call there, Kristen?
We're going to call a carry on that one, and so it'll be a point for BYU. What I love right now that BYU's doing, it's starting with Hanneman. She's getting a great pass, but she's able to really isolate her players on the right side with those slides, as well on the outside with the block, allowing them just to have those one blockers going up.
And Ettinger, there we see the power. What a kill. She'll step off for a breather and be replaced by Meredith Crenshaw. And it'll be Gonzaga serving. That's Laura Day, the senior out of Torrance, California. Hanneman sets one up for Hampson. Another good block from Gonzaga. And good heads-up play by Poindexter to let that one go out. And that'll make it 12-10 Bulldogs.
And this is what we talked about in the early going, that this Gonzaga team is a very, very good team, and it does not show on paper with their 7-19 record.
Certainly playing better than that, as Carpenter tries to get one in, but it's dug out. And that one will go off Hanneman and out of play. So Gonzaga, a bit of a run here.
This is key for Gonzaga to boost their confidence, get them going, help them mentally to realize, hey, we can win this set. The trouble that they've seen this year is actually closing out the set. They'll get the lead, but they allow teams to come back. So can they stay in system and continue to capitalize when BYU has plays like that out of system?
Certainly a tough play for BYU, and that makes it 14-10 Gonzaga. BYU doesn't figure out something soon. I'm sure we'll see a timeout from Coach Olmstead as Laura Day still serving. There was Hanneman setting one up for Warner. And a good block from Warner. It was Warner and Carpenter getting up for that one.
Beautiful job by Warner. She leads the West Coast Conference in blocking, and she's 8th in the nation, averaging 1.49 blocks per set. But just doing a nice job of reading the middle and going up and getting that, penetrating the net.
BYU gets service back, and it's Christy Carpenter who sends it. Another good block from Hampson along with Warner, and there it is. Nicole Warner just finds the empty spot and puts that one there. Good shot.
There's that blocking once again. I talked about Warner 8th in the nation. Well, BYU right now 7th in the nation in blocking per set. Such a good at the net defensive team.
It's a good little hit over there by Crenshaw. Crenshaw looks like she'll be a force. BYU's gonna have to deal with. Good block from BYU there. And it looked like Warner just got a little too far over that time. And that gives the point to Gonzaga as we get our first timeout. Gonzaga up 15-12 early on in the first set, but we'll be right back. Still a lot of volleyball here to play on BYU TV. As 15-12, Gonzaga leading, and it'll be Wang with the serve. Hanneman will set it up for Hampson, and a good kill there for Hampson.
Hampson feeding it right through the opening in the block, the middle blocker for Gonzaga. Late to get out, you'll see right here the opening, and she just finds that seam and nails it across the court.
Looked like that was Crenshaw a little bit late in coming over. As good hit there from number 17, Caprina Goodwin. Goes off the blockers and out of bounds. The point goes to Gonzaga now, 16-13 Bulldogs. As it'll be Caprina Goodwin with the serve now. And it looked like that was the same call we saw early on Gonzaga. So a point goes back to them now, 17-13. BYU in an early hole here in the Smith Fieldhouse.
It's a rare double hit that you'll see from Hanneman. Normally she gets a good ball and she does not use the double hit.
Came back with a good setup there, but Hampson not able to keep it in bounds. And there's that timeout. Sean Olmstead gonna talk things over with the Cougars as they trail early, 18-13. And so we'll take another break, but keep it right here. BYU gonna try and get back into this one on BYU TV. Welcome back to the Smith Fieldhouse. It's 18-13 Gonzaga leading this one. A little bit about Gonzaga, located in Spokane, Washington. Beautiful area up there. Founded back in 1887, and you can see that enrollment, just 7,800, quite a bit less than BYU. As Thurston back into the game and making her presence felt right away, getting BYU back.
The third kill for Thurston. She does a nice job pounding it up and over the block. Beautiful approach, getting up there quick, and just too much on that back row to handle.
That was Laura Day, who couldn't quite get to that one. And Wang was a little too far over the net, might have touched it. Either way, that point goes to BYU. BYU getting back into this one. It's now 15-18. Gonzaga's still leading. Jennifer Hampson with the serve. Good dig from Poindexter. And good rally here. Get one up to Crenshaw. Good block there. Looked like LaChamana. And now LaChamana sends one over. Well defended by Gonzaga. And that one just lands in no man's land. Tough break for the Cougars there.
Gonzaga doing a nice job of being very scrappy defensively. They're all over the place, especially when they're getting touches on those blocks. Their back row is doing a nice job getting those balls up and keeping them in play.
As Thurston can't get one over those front blockers with his ass. And there's a good hit, just getting in bounds. That's called painting the corners for Casey Thurston. And that gets a very important point back to BYU. It's now 19-16 as we see the kills coming up. Gonzaga with 12, BYU just 10. As the serve from Tia Withers. And Wang set one up for Poindexter. Great job by Hampson just to see that one. And Carpenter gets it over. That's a real smart play from Christy Carpenter, a senior leader.
There's that experience coming through. You don't always have to go up and pound this ball. Look at her shot selection in a beautiful spot. She went short. There was no one there. Excellent job up and over the block. It's going to count as a kill. Either way, you don't always have to pound it.
Don't always have to kill it, with pun intended. As Hanneman gets one up, and Carpenter sends it over with authority. And that's got this Cougar team excited as they're within 1 point of getting back even with Gonzaga. Christy Carpenter with her 3rd kill early in this one.
Can feel that momentum shift. Now over to BYU. They've got a great server in Tia Withers behind the service line. A couple big hits from Carpenter. The crowd's behind them. Hopefully they can turn it around.
And a tough break there. Call that the curse of the commentator. Unable to dig that one was Hartsock. So it'll be Gonzaga getting to 21st. They now lead at 20-18. Again, those of you not familiar, we played at 25, win by 2. Service there from Denise Van de Mortel. Another good hit from LeChamenot. Seems very comfortable drifting to the right.
Once again, Hanneman isolating LeChamenot with the 1 block. You'll see right here, just 1 blocker in Poindexter. Edinger thought it was going all the way to the outside. So Hanneman, excellent selection to go behind to LeChamenot.
After the serve from Hartsock, it's Gonzaga setting it up. And they set one up for Wang, and good job of getting up for the block by Warner along with Hanneman, but can't keep that one in bounds. So it's now 21-19 Gonzaga. Fans in the Smith Fieldhouse maybe getting a little tense. They'll try to cheer the Cougars back into this one. As number 6, Taryn Poindexter, will serve for the Bulldogs. Hanneman setting one up perfectly for Jennifer Hampson, who gets it in for a big point. Brings the Cougars to within 1 at 21-20.
Poindexter served it right to where you don't want to serve it if you're Gonzaga, right to the libero and Hartsock. So a beautiful pass to set that up for Hanneman.
That one just got too far over, and Christy Carpenter didn't need telling twice. She put that one away.
Those are one of your most favorite hits to hit, especially on that front line when that overpass comes over. Carpenter to go up and get that. Those are just fun hits to get back over in your face.
Serve from Hanneman. And now it's Hanneman setting it up for Carpenter, but well dug out by number 19, Laura Day. And then a good block. It's Warner and Hampson going up to get that one. And that gives the Cougars the first lead they've had in a while, 22-21.
You can see exactly why when we talked about the open. Christy Carpenter, a great block right here, but Carpenter, that emotional leader that's brought this team back in. She brings so much fire, so much energy into this team. The last couple side outs have been because of her big hits. We saw that overpass hit, and then just getting up and getting energy really lifts this team up, and they fought back into this, now leading by 1.
And one player we won't see tonight for the Bulldogs of Gonzaga, but who's actually very familiar with this area, is number 8, Calestina Takau. She's actually a freshman from Hurricane, Utah, redshirting this year for Gonzaga. So we can only hope she got to give out some tickets to this one, maybe get some of her high school friends here.
And Coach Dave Gant talked about some of this freshman class. He's got a lot of those freshmen redshirting this year, but very talented. He has high hopes for them to come in and do much more than what they've been able to do this year with the class that they've had. But already they're 3 wins ahead of what they had last year, and their record at 4-27. So they've done a great job, and like we've talked about, on paper does not reflect how good this team is.
This is a team that's certainly on the rise in the West Coast Conference, and giving BYU all they can handle here in set number 1. BYU just now got the lead back 22-21. We got the chance to talk to Dave Gant, and he talked about controlling the middle. Gonzaga kind of looked good early. They've kind of gotten away from that now, and that's why we see them trailing.
And it's because of the tough block from Warner and LeChamenot right there. They're keying on that middle position, so they're trying to utilize the outsides, but BYU is so strong blocking early.
Not there, though. That's Kylie Edinger, who puts one down for Gonzaga to tie this one up at 22.
I like the choice, going back to what they're comfortable with, the middle spot in Edinger. Beautiful job, excellent set.
As the service coming from Gonzaga.